So I have a book haul. This is my first book haul and my last one, as I'm going on a book buying ban, as the booktube community calls it, because I've bought way too many books once again. So I have a book haul. And there's 33 books here, which I've accumulated over the course of a few months. So it wasn't in one shopping spree. It was over a couple of months, but nonetheless, I've amassed about 33 books in the past few months. So here is my haul. Hopefully my last for a very long time. So I like instructional books. I like to learn things. And I'm currently, doing art right now. So I have a lot of art books here. I have some kind of how-to art books. And then I also have some art books, some like picture, like books of artists, like the showing off their oeuvre or whatever. I guess maybe that might be the interesting place to start. So I'm not super familiar with abstract art, and I want to get into it. So I went with the classic Jackson Pollock. So I got a book on Jackson Pollock. I love this book series. I think it's called the Basic Art series. I have a lot of them for various artists. There's like a slight biography, and like the art reproductions are pretty good. It's a pretty good like overview of the artist's work and stuff. So I got a Jackson Pollock one, and in the same series I got, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his name, but Basquiat, I think that John Michael Basquiat, I think is his full name. I first found out about him through Metallica, and it's some kind of monster video where Lars Ulrich had one of his pieces. But yeah, he's a more modern artist that I want to know about. And then the last of the art books, the artist books, are I got a Banksy, of which I really like conceptual art, and I just like the ideas behind some of his artwork, like the famous Molotov cocktail with the flower thing. It's all great. So I want to get deeper into Banksy, and I like permanent physical representations of their art. So it's kind of like mine. All right, now to the art instructional books. I want to get into architectural drawing and painting. So I got a couple books on architectural drawing. This is a more general book, how to draw architecture. It's a more general book on like perspective and some of the specific ins and outs of the texture of like bricks and just perspectives and different types of like composition. So it's a really good overview book, I think. I haven't read it yet, but it looks like it is. And then I got this 100 buildings and architectural forms, which is more like a straightforward example book. It gives you like 100 like examples, like step by step. Like step by step. I don't know if you can see that really. Where's the camera? It's like a step by step how to draw these architectural stuff. Like there's like Frank Lloyd Wright stuff in here. There's like the Taj Mahal, the Parthenon, a lot of stuff. The Statue of Liberty, Stonehenge. I guess that's it's architectural. I didn't think of that is, but I guess it's the sculptures and stuff. Statue of Liberty is it's a sculpture, and so is the Eiffel Tower. But anyway, and then I also got, for like reference material, I found this book on the history of architecture at Ollie's for a couple of bucks. And it's pretty fucking awesome. It's like a good history text, and also it's got a lot of pictures of various buildings, famous buildings and stuff. I'm going to use that as a reference source. And then I got 2 books on again, I don't know how to pronounce this. I think it's called Trompe l'Oeil. It's like this optical illusion stuff. Like, let's see, get glare. I guess the idea is that you have a primary image, and then there's like an exterior image, giving you the illusion that like you're seeing through a window in this case. And I want to experiment with that. I got 2 books in those. I couldn't decide which one was better based on the previews, so I just got both. So whatever. Might be partially redundant, but there's some how-tos in there. Some pretty good how-tos. Let's see, what is this one actually? So it's an ocean. What is the actual? I guess it's just an ocean scape. She's got to be using it for something else. Oh, here it is. I guess that's the overall image with like these pillars. But anyway, I'll check them. I'll see if they're any good. And then I did a recent artwork that involved text. So and I started using a dip pen. I've got into dip pens and acrylic ink. So I wanted to get more into like text and calligraphy. So I found this book at Hobby Lobby on calligraphy. It's I can never read calligraphy or cursive. I can't even read the name of this book. Copper plate calligraphy from A to Z. That's it. It's almost hard to read. It's a little bit too elegant of a text for me to understand. But then I got a book on Dictionary of Typography to see all of the different fonts and like the kind of like what's considered like how these people design these fonts and everything. More like a graphic design thing, I guess. And then at Ollie's bookstore, which is my bane, finding random crap. So I'll start with the drawing books, I guess. I found this spiral drawing book, and I want to get into more like abstract, types of drawing. So I like these conceptual things of drawing. Like I got into Zentangle, apparently is a thing. Zentangle artwork, and then I guess the spiral artwork. And again, this is a step-by-step book showing you how to do various like I guess spiral-based designs. Can you see that? Yeah. And I just love these kind of books and figuring out how to do it. Like, yeah. And then I got The Art of Dragons. Just for it's a step by step, but it's more like inspiration, for different types of dragons. And so I don't just end up drawing, Shinron over and over again. And then I got a little bit off the beaten path. I did get a water marbling set, so I had to buy a corresponding book because I don't know how to do water marbling. So I found this book on water marbling randomly at Ollie's. They have everything there, I guess. But yeah, I have yet to actually try it, but it's something I want to get into. And again, it's like instructionals for how to do water marbling. It looks really interesting to me, though it might be something that I do like once, and then once I've done it, never do it again. But I really like the idea of it, and like, the different like devices and crap they use to get various patterns. So I'm gonna go into that at some point. And this is an even more random book. I figured I can combine this, with my normal drawings, but only you do make a 3D element to the drawings. So it's got kind of like these 3D paper things. So you cut out designs and fold them to make like little paper objects and stuff. Almost like a paper airplane. I guess I could do a paper airplane, like an artistic paper airplane, some origami and shit. But it shows you how to fold, how to cut out the design, how to cut out the design and how to fold it into like these objects. Whatever. It just might be inspiration to add a 3D element to my drawings. Then I got a couple of reference books. I'm gonna do a challenge of animals in the next few months, where I try to do an animal a day. So this is a book of mammals. So yeah, I might use this in my art challenge. It's got pretty much every mammal you can think of, like walrus and rhino. Of course, they are. Wow. So the elephant seal, I think, is beaten up. He's like battered and bloodied. I don't think they normally look like that. It's like, yeah, he's got a wound, a scar in there. That's a fucking wound. Like, I guess elephant seals fight so much they depicted him as being beaten up. So that's weird. The rest of the animals are like normal. Just a leopard or tiger. But whatever. And then I wanted to figure out tattoos. I don't understand tattoos or the art of them. So I got just this tattoo Bible. I think they're just like base tattoo designs. Because I don't really understand, what kind of tattoos people get. I have no tattoos myself. So I want to infiltrate the world of tattoos, design, and whatever. Because I don't really get them. So anyway, moving on to more. That's pretty much all of the art instructional books. Now I have some kind of like art inspiration books. I bought the Letters of Vincent van Gogh by Penguin, the Penguin edition. I heard some criticisms of the Penguin edition that they kind of left out the more mental deterioration letters towards the end of his life. But it's enough of an overview for me to dip in and out every once in a while. And it's always nice to read letters to see how normal people communicated it, back in the day before Twitter and texting. They know how to talk a lot better than us. Of course, he was a genius or whatever. So it's probably not representative of the, average correspondence of most people in that time period. But at a used bookstore, I found this Picasso biography, and I really like Picasso, and I know he has a controversial life, but this is just pretty much like a straight up biography. Just to figure out how great artists lived, and I got into biographies because they're a lot more interesting than I thought. If you haven't gotten into biographies, I'll really give them a chance, But anyway, I also, at Target, I got this one at Target, randomly after work. This is the Rick Rubin's new book. So the music producer, Rick Rubin. I didn't know it was Rick Rubin. I just flipped it open in the store and started reading it. And I thought, man, that's pretty insightful. At first I thought it was some kind of like Buddhism book. But then I looked, Rick Rubin, I know that guy. So yeah, this seems to be, the guy is incredibly successful at what he does. I love the music he's produced over the years. So it's basically his insights into like living an artistic life and how he finds his inspiration and how he does what he does. And it seems pretty good so far. And then I also got a book, Mastery by Robert Greene. Um, he's the guy that wrote the 48 Laws of Power, and I don't know about this guy. I mean, it's interesting to read. I mean, this book is probably the book I would trust the most of him. The other books, he's not exactly the guy. He's not exactly a political mastermind, but he's more of like an armchair philosopher, an observer, as opposed to like the real deal, like Lao Tzu was in the Tao Te Ching. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm gonna try to mine that to see if there's any source of inspiration, and I can, you know, siphon off of from that book. And then I've been trying to get into anime and manga to wrap my mind around the world of anime and manga. I haven't watched much of it. I have a friend that's guiding me, but I also, since I'm a bookish person, I get book guides to everything. So I wanted like an overview of manga. I have a few manga books, mostly uh, Berserk and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I have a few editions of that up there. But this is like an overview of manga, the complete guide of manga by, let's see, Jason Thompson. And it's just like it's a review. It's reviews of like every manga up to that time. It's 900 manga series, and it's got all of the popular ones, of course, Dragon Ball, Naruto, Fullmetal Alchemist, Berserk, and Sailor Moon, all that, and then a lot of more obscure ones that I don't know about that I'm trying to get into and figure out. And then if you know manga, you got to get anime. Yeah, so this book is Anime Impact, and it's an overview of most of the popular anime. So it's Anime Impact by Chris Stugman, and it's kind of like personal stories about what these big anime series meant to the authors. So it's an anthology series of like each author writes an essay or so about a given series, like Dragon Ball or Sailor Moon or Tokyo Godfathers or Please Teacher, Please Twins. Some of the ones I don't know: Mushi Shi, Death Note, Gunslinger Girl, Trigun, Psychopaths. So that's my little overview of anime and manga. And then at that shopping spree at Target, I found this Walt Disney film archive, and I just couldn't resist it. I love these Teshan books, which the artist basic series with the Basquiat and the Pollock. There's Teshan, and I love that publisher. They're expensive, but really nice books. So this is like an overview of the early animated series. And I didn't know with 101 Dalmatians was as early as it was. I thought that came out when I was a kid, but nope, it's been out forever. But there's like concept art, like original like concept art, and then how the origin of the idea developed, and I don't know. Walt Disney is just great. I guess I should have included that in the arts section of the hall. Damn it, I can't put it back in. Slipcases. And then going from manga in Japan over to back to America, I guess with Disney, I always liked Spawn. I liked Spawn the movie and the action figures when I was a kid, but I never really had any of the comics. So I finally want to get around to reading Spawn. So I got Spawn Compendium #1 by Todd McFarlane, and it is great. It's probably the best way to read it, I would imagine. It's got 50 issues, I think every one of them has 50 issues, and I think they're up to issue 250 of like 300. But yeah, getting to Image comics. And then I wanted to see an entire, comic book run by an artist, like the entire art. So at Ollie's again, I found an entire arc of Batman Eternal. I don't know if it's a particularly interesting one, but it's at least a complete series. I got all 3 volumes that make up the 52 issue run of Batman Eternal. And I'm going to read through that. The artwork looks amazing. I'm mostly in it for the artwork and stuff. To see like the designs and the paneling. So I can just get deeper into the world of comics. And that's pretty much the art section, or art adjacent section of the book haul. I have a few more that are not art related necessarily. So this is representative of my mania in regards to books. So I love these books that are kind of like how to do everything. So I have a number of these books, and I might do an independent video about that. I have a number of these how-to books. But they, at Ollie's again, they had this Martha Stewart, the Martha Manual, how to do nearly everything. And I was like, okay. And it was like knitting and sewing. And I was like, maybe one day I'll need to know how to sew, and I won't have access to the internet, so I'll have a resource for that information that is permanent in my possession, that is not dependent on electronics, which is insane. I'm aware of this. But because if the electricity grid goes down, I'm fucked anyway, and these books aren't going to do shit. I have to abandon these books probably. But in my head, in my catalog of everything, my library's got to encompass every fact in the world. These types of book, fill the gaps in some of the knowledge that is empty in my bookshelves. Speaking of knowledge that I don't have, I came across this book, Beauty, by the Beauty Book. I don't even know if it has an author name on here. The Beauty Book by Helen Foster. And it is just like a guide of like beauty. Like here's the table of contents. I don't know if you can see that. The table of contents, there's a section on color, which is your skin color and your hair color, to get your general palette. And then there's a section on your skin, your hair, makeup, your body, and hands and feet, pedicures and manicures. So this is like nails, makeup, exercise, like shapewear, push-up bras, and all the magical shit that women do to make themselves beautiful. How to maintain curly hair. And this is a world that I know nothing about. And I feel like, in my search for knowing everything, this is a domain of being that I know nothing about. And I have no access to knowing anything about because there's no women in my life. So I might as well try to, get into that world to see what it is that these girls are doing all the time to make themselves, look so attractive. Because female beauty is the most valuable asset in the universe, even more than intellect, for sure. For better or worse. So I got one history book, The Revolution Song, Story of American Freedom by Russell Shorta. And I got this book because the clinching point was he was disparaging of George Washington, saying that he's a bad general general. And I've always heard from Steve Donahue that George Washington was just shit, and I assume he's shit because of apparently his he's bad at being a general, bad at being a leader. I guess. And this book actually goes into negatives of Washington. I assume. I'm not super well versed in history, but it's piqued my interest, and it's got historical figures like lesser known historical figures about like black people at the time of the revolution, women at the time of the revolution. So it's kind of like an old untold history of the American Revolution, or little stories from the American Revolutions of lesser known figures. Then I got this book called The Fourth Age. I have been totally... The Fourth Age by Brian Reese. It's about AI and robotics and how it's going to destroy humanity. I cannot believe that human creativity is the first thing to be replaced. I thought for sure the muscle mechanistic bullshit would be replaced first, and then human creativity would remain intact for the future, and robots can do all the manual labor jobs, and we can just be creative and all that shit. Turns out, no. The robots are going to be the creative ones, and we're stuck doing the manual labor. So it kind of sucks. So it's some insights from this guy about what's going to happen in the future, given the reality that AI is going to take over not just all of our jobs, but all of our creative jobs as well, and potentially all of our relationships. Because certainly I'm the target demographic of AI girlfriends, and it's a possibility that even relationships are going to be replaced by fucking robots. I forgot. I can't swear on YouTube. But whatever. Speaking of existential dread, I did get 2 psychology books. Got this book, Feeling Great by David D. Burns. And it's just another Ollie's book. I was flipping through it at Ollie's, and it has chapters about the various cognitive distortions. And in my stint in therapy, my therapist was very adamant about my personal cognitive distortions, and that's when I was first introduced to the idea of cognitive distortions. But I had no concrete literature about, specifically those distortions. Like, let's see, overgeneralization, fortune telling, magnification, all or nothing thinking, should statements, black and white thinking, all of those cognitive distortions. But yeah, it goes into that. Maybe it can clear up some of my horrible thinking. And speaking of horrible communication skills, my last book is one of my worst skills and problems in communications and relationships is body language. So I got a body language book. So this is Body Language by Alan and Barbara Pace. Alan and Barbara Pease. Pace? Is it French? Pace? I don't know. Pace, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it shows, as diagrams of various body language things. Like, I'm a 2-year-old. This kind of reminds me, you're teaching a little kid about body language. But that's where I'm at. That's my level. I'm pretty much a child. Well, I know the crossing the arms thing is supposed to be, go away or something like that. But, this is something that I really need to read. It's not going to be real fun. But I got to work on myself somehow, so I got to start reading some of these psychology books. But I have way too many books, so I'm on a book buying ban. So that's all the books for this haul, and hopefully all the books I'm going to buy for many years probably. Certainly I don't need any more for at least years worth of reading. Um, I might try to do that. It was a Criminale 100 book challenge where you don't buy another book until you've read 100 of your own books that you haven't read yet. I think I'm going to do that. But I might have to up it to the Michael K. Vaughan level and do 500 instead of 100. I probably need to do that. So I might aim. I can't commit to 500, but I can at least commit to 100 books before I buy another book. And you're going to see, I'm going to make a bookshelf tour, just how insane this mess is. So that's it for now. My first and hopefully only book haul. So see you later.